they're also reporting that Wuhan's back open again. And from correspondents who were in Wuhan, like from even 7 News, I was really surprised about this. I saw this on 7 News last night, and 7 News is kind of, as up until now, I've considered the establishment, but 7 did a thing last night. One of their correspondent was talking about this, and he was being quite honest and critical of China. He was saying, like, they've declared that they've opened again, but then the truth of the matter is they've let one member of the household leave the house for 2 hours per day. That's their version of now being open. So apparently that's what it is. And they're declaring that they're open now so they can look good. That's their whole aim. So that's like basically still worse than what we even have right now. Like, then you've got like World Health Organization who are, I think David Icke talked about this as well, but the World Health Organization, they were the ones who were saying that you can't transfer it from human to human. And they're the ones who won't even recognize Taiwan as a country, which is exactly what China does. So try to add that one up. You know, it's like I saw this video there was a girl, she was asking questions. She said, so what do you think about Taiwan's response? Like, we had a pretty good result, yeah? And the guy literally just pretended the line dropped out, and then he hung up, and then they called back, and then he wouldn't answer the question. He changed the subject. They won't acknowledge that Taiwan exists, which is exactly what China does, because China doesn't, apparently they had beef with Taiwan before.
A senior WHO official has raised hackles in Taiwan by appearing to dodge questions about Taiwan's exclusion from the World Health Body. During an interview via video chat with a Hong Kong media outlet, Bruce Aylward, a Canadian epidemiologist, remained silent for about 10 seconds when asked if the WHO should reconsider Taiwan's membership. After their video hookup appeared to be disconnected, the interviewer called him back. This time, Aylward declared that if he had contracted the coronavirus, he would want to be treated in China.
WHO considered Taiwan's membership. Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
When Aylward was asked about Taiwan, he stalled for close to 10 seconds and avoided a reporter's question. But the reporter persisted.
I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
We decided to give Dr. Aylward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China.
Aylward is an Assistant Director General at the WHO and is a Canadian-trained epidemiologist. Ever since the pandemic broke out, he has constantly sung China's praises.
I left inspired and with a deep admiration for, the common Chinese people that I worked with. If I had COVID-19, I want to be treated in China.
Lin Shejia, the CEO of the Foundation of Medical Professionals Alliance, lamented that the WHO has been deeply poisoned by Chinese influence. He said he believed that once the pandemic was over, each nation would seriously consider how to reform these kinds of international organisations that have been heavily infiltrated by China.
So it's no wonder we have conspiracy theories, which everybody's still thinks that you're wearing a tinfoil hat or something. But I mean, there's the whole 5G thing as well. I don't really have my head around that side of things. But you got to think about it. You got to think about, are they really crazy, or because like people like David Icke are considered crazy, but I think he's got quite a good point. Our media is a lot less radical than like the United States media, but still we're seeing like that the mainstream channels, there's certain things they won't talk about and are like elephants in the room, and you think, why the hell is that? Why won't you mention this? It's like, it's so obvious, and there has to be someone's in the pockets. Like, obviously Australia's sold out to China big time, so like even the media can't move, so they've really got their claws in. And the way our society looks, like when we have like new rules that mean the police can make the decisions, rather than like your due process, it somewhat makes sense. I get it. They got to act quickly. It's kind of like when a president has the ability to make a military decision without going through all the bureaucracy. I mean, there's a good reason for that. And I guess like when you want to enforce social distancing on a short-term scale, it doesn't make sense to like let it draw out. It's just a bit suspicious when you see all the other evidence build up and then there's these things happening as well. It's like, I damn hope I'm wrong. I hope that we're not being taken over. I think about like PC culture and stuff in the context of all this. We have a social media which is basically as powerful as the government or more because they're a global, and they have the right to silence whoever they want because they're a private company. So a lot of the people who like David Icke, for instance, his video got taken down. It's not as easy to point the finger and say, you know, the government is supposed to protect free speech, because the government's also supposed to protect the rights of individual corporations. So we have this kind of problem where social media has this massive monopolizing power to censor, and so we see like things like that are a huge threat and they get deleted. And we think what makes people behave like, what kind of characteristics do we need society to have in order to be behaving and get with the program that we're trying to create. If we're trying to create like a dictatorship like China, where they respect China, and like whether you're from wherever you are, from anywhere, like nobody would dare speak out against it. You know, we just want obedient people who don't dare think differently. Like, we know what's politically correct, everybody go for that. I feel like a lot of it is stemming from China. Like it's the initial seed was planted there, and they've made it go through social media and the politics, world politics, and it flows on from there. And it's always felt really unnatural to me. It's like, we can't say that. Like, Jesus, we're supposed to live in a free, like, Western world, and we can't say these things because apparently, like, it's all about protecting the victim. You can't ever say anything that involves any race because that would be considered racist, even if you're just delineating the difference between two races. I mean, there is examples of, unfortunately, of people who've taken it the wrong way. Like I'm seeing there are cases in Australia where like some people have been abusing Chinese people in Australia. It's not cool. Like, and like, so some people who might have similar views to what you and I have, but are not thinking properly, are going, oh, therefore it's they're just being shallow and going, therefore Chinese people suck. Well, no, you've missed the point. Now you are actually being what's called racist. But you're not helping our case here, man, because I agree with you about the fact that China might have is probably behind all of this, but you're talking about the Chinese Communist Party. You're not talking about Chinese people in general. The citizens of China are as much victims of this, if not more, than everyone else. I think the problem is like this simplistic, like on-off switch thinking. It's like it's black or white. There's no nuance to some people's thinking. So you've got these crazy people I've just talked about, who would probably be the same ones who couldn't ever talk to a Muslim or something because that they assumed that all Muslims are extremists. So yeah, I don't agree with that, right? But at the same time, then you have the opposite side of the spectrum where it's like, anytime you criticize China as a country or religion in general, then you're automatically being a racist or something. So like, that's also not right, because then you can't actually pick out the bad bits and go, that's bad, you know? Like, there is bad bits, and it doesn't mean everyone who belongs to a particular faith or country is that person. You've always got to take everyone as a clean slate, but at the same time, like, you're allowed to criticize the thing that's actually the problem. Apparently now, if you do that, most people, lazy people, thinking people, and also people who have a political agenda, would fully support just going black and white. Yeah, of course. Like, if you even dare to say there might be some sort of problem, then you're just immediately a racist, fascist, or whatever other ist they can throw at you.